All right, so just to give you a quick answer on what to do if a student doesn't hear the ending sound. Often, if kids mispronounce words, they don't hear the difference when other people say it another way. For instance, here in Hawaii, we have a lot of kids that will say bath instead of bath, and they replace the th with an f, so they spell bath with the f, and don't know that other people are saying bath with their tongue out with the th until we point it out. So if it's an issue of mispronunciation, then correcting that will help, and just getting them to notice. And it is very, very common for people to not close their words. Most of us in speech don't enunciate the final consonant well, so they might not be hearing it. So we need to get them to hear the words, and actually reading helps them because they will then start to see that, oh, guess what? There's an extra sound there at the end of that word. So, for instance, you had the example of Sal or Sam or something. So if we're building the word, so if we're asking our student to build the word and they build and they don't hear the other sound, what I would do is remove choices and say, okay, I'm saying another sound. Listen to me. Sam. Sam. And I can see that you found the s and found the ah. Listen, there's one more sound there. Sam. And maybe give them two choices and say, so I'm saying another sound. Which one am I saying? Sam. Am I saying the m or the l? Listen again. Sam. Which one am I saying at the end there? Sam. And by reducing the choices and with you pronouncing it as clearly to make it evident, they're usually able to find the sound. But they might not be saying Sam. When they just say Sam, it's like they barely even get the sound out of their mouth. They're not aware that they're saying it. And in Dehane's article there, he said that people who do not read don't necessarily hear all the sounds, and that reading improves phonemic awareness. That's what he says in his article, so he's the expert. So by giving them the print, you can help them identify and anchor a symbol for the sound. And then, well, it's okay. So, and then you might try another one. Okay, I'm saying sap, sap. And now that one's harder because both the M and the P, your lips start out in the same position. So, one is that plosive, right? So sap. And you have to overpronounce it. So you're getting a sap and getting a little more push on the p, because a lot of kids will mix up the M and the P because the M and the P both start with your lips together, that same position. So you say it clearly, you let them see your mouth and see what's happening as you're pushing out the air, and say, okay, which one am I saying? M or P? And let them then choose and say, okay, that's the one I'm saying. And you can do this with limited choices, and limit the choices. Then maybe you can bring in 3 choices, or you can then try it with am I saying pat or pal, whatever it is. And it's easier to recognize than it is to produce. So if you're saying it and you're saying it clearly, they are more likely to hear the sound at the end. So then once you've done that, I would give them maybe not even minimal pairs, or I might start with a minimal pair and say, okay, I'm looking for the word Sam. Which one is the one that says Sam? And they can have 2 choices, and you can increase the choices and say, I'm saying Sam or sap, and let them find what you have articulated, because you can articulate it very clearly, even if they aren't yet So, the goal would be to get them to articulate it clearly so that they can also hear it in their heads as they say these words. So, having done that, we know a lot of kids will then have problems hearing ending blends. So, if I said I wanted my student to make the word mast, and they go mast, and they do that, and they all do this, and I might move that over and say, I'm actually saying another sound in there. Listen to me. Mast. Do you hear that there's another sound in there? Is it the S or the P that's in there? Mast. And with you articulating as well, they're more likely to hear it and find it. And limited choices. So limit the choices, get recognition and help them to hear your correct pronunciation, help them to see what's happening in your mouth and their mouths, and feel the difference. All those things. Who is it that said it? I forget which doctor says, whatever you pay attention to, that's what you'll learn better. So if you get them to focus on that part, they will learn it more easily.